Today I'm going to show you how to make a super quick and easy snowman ornament. This is part of our 25 days of sewing ornaments patterns, and the link to this pattern piece is below in the description box. They are printable, and if you're watching from our website alohasewingcompany.com, welcome and sew along. You can use any material you want to use to make this ornament. If you want to take a picture or screenshot this page just to give you some ideas on a couple of different things that you can use, please feel free. Here are the materials that I'm using to make this ornament, and if you want to stuff it to give it some structure, you can also have some polyfill stuffing. So go ahead and cut out 2 pieces of fabric, and you need 1 piece of ribbon for your hanging loop. We're going to crisscross that at the top so the raw edges meet, and then you're going to place it at the very top center of one of your fabric pieces and sew it in place using a 1/8 of an inch seaming allowance. This won't sew on your finished ornament, so don't worry about how it looks. This is just to hold it in place. Now we want to go ahead and pin this hanging loop towards the middle of the fabric, so that way it doesn't catch in our seam allowance when we're sewing. You can see here I pinned with the ball on the top. Make sure the ball of your pin is actually on the bottom, so that way we can take it out once we flip it right side out. So go ahead and line up your back fabric with the right sides of your fabric together. I like to start by pinning or clipping the top and bottom of my ornament. And at the bottom, you're actually going to clip so that you have 1.5 inches width or so, that we are not going to sew closed at the bottom. So I pin that so that way it reminds me not to sew that area closed. Now using a 1/4 inch seam allowance, let's go ahead and sew all the way around this ornament, again leaving that opening at the bottom. For our beginner sewers, I will show you how I do this. Start at one of your pin places that we're going to leave that whole opening at the bottom, and sew around your curves. You're going to use a short stitch and go to your first corner here, and at that corner leave your needle in the fabric, lift your presser foot, and then rotate your fabric so that it goes the direction that you need to sew in. Then you're going to sew right up to that next corner point for our next circular part of the snowman, and do the same thing, and then continue sewing all the way around your ornament the same way. You're going to stop right at the bottom where we have that pin or clipped piece to remind us not to sew that opening closed. Here's mine sewn. You can see I stayed right close to the edges using a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. Now go ahead and take your pins out, and we are going to trim down any excess seam allowance. If you do not have pinking shears and you're making several ornaments, I highly recommend that you get them, because when you're trimming your seam allowance, we want to cut small slits in the fabric all the way around our ornament, but not cutting the seam allowance across our opening, because we need that extra fabric there. And that way our fabric and our curves lay nice and flat, and the fabric won't pucker when we flip this right side out. If you're using regular scissors, that's okay. Just go ahead and cut small slits right up to your stitches around all of your curves, so that way it lays nice and flat. Make sure to also cut right into your corner pieces, so that way those little circular pieces, the curved parts, lay nice and flat as well. If you have a pin on the inside, we want to go ahead and take this out now. That's why I said the top of your pin should actually be facing the bottom of your snowman, so that way it's easier to get out. I wasn't thinking and had the top of my pin the other way. So go ahead and flip this right side out carefully, making sure not to get yourself with your pin if you're not able to get it out like I didn't here. And then we're going to smoothen out all of our seams. And I do actually go in with a chopstick as well, so that I can poke out all of my seams nice and smoothly. The next thing that we want to do is go ahead and close this opening down here at the bottom. You do that by pressing the fabric inwards about 1/4 of an inch. And if you want to add structure, go ahead and add your polyfill stuffing as well. So go ahead and press your fabric inwards. If you don't want the bottom to be flat, you can play with the fabric as much as you need to so that it curves a little bit at the bottom. Once you've done that, we're going to go ahead and press it with your iron to get out any wrinkles and to also hold this opening fabric the way it should stay. Now I'm going to add a little scarf for my snowman using a 3/8 of an inch wide fabric. I cut slits across the top, slanted just slightly, and we want to put that ribbon right in the back of the ornament and then just cross it over at the neckline. And I cross it over so that they crisscross right on the side. And you can hot glue this or just put a couple stitches right there in the middle, right here. And I do that because it's not going to show on my finished ornament because I'm going to embellish a little piece right there over top that stitch. And if you don't want the ends of your ribbon to fray, you can use a lighter and just heat the ends of your ribbon. Here are different embellishments you can use to add to your ornament if you want to. I go ahead and put a little piece of hot glue on the back of them and just press them right in place. To close your ornament, you can use a little dot of hot glue at the opening and press it closed. You can top stitch around your entire ornament before you embellish it, or you can hand stitch that opening closed using a blind ladder stitch. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and have fun sewing along with me. Please, please, please like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel to see all of our easy sewing patterns as they're released. Visit AlohaSewingCompany.com or the link is down below in the description box on YouTube to see all of our super easy sewing patterns that you can print at home so you can start to sew faster. We make sewing patterns for literally everything from baby items, kids' clothes, decorations, holiday stuff and gifts, bags and more. And before you go, mahalo.